My friends, Acer Africa sent us the Predator Triton 500 in this slim little form factor right here. And my goodness, I am super impressed with this laptop. There's a lot to discuss and a lot to go over regarding this little good guy right here. Look at how thin that is. We'll talk about the specs. We'll talk about this beautiful piece of machinery. I took it off. Oh, wow. Battery life is not kind to performance. Let's talk about that after I tell you about today's video sponsor, Vincero watches. Hey friends, Future Brett here. You know what one can learn in a shirt change? Vincero, not Vincero. My dumb American brain likes to pronounce things incorrectly, but let's talk about this fantastic company, not to mention their dope watches. My friends, I have the Chronos S Matte Black Edition. This thing has been on my wrist since the moment it arrived in the mail because look at it. It is sleek. Not only does Vincero have great watches, but they have a mission to create exceptionally crafted timepieces that are fairly priced to inspire as many people as possible to elevate their game and ultimately live their legacy. This is something that resonates with me pretty well. They have something called the 5 a.m. life, which, I mean, I wake up at 4:30, but like the whole point is that you need to work to get things done. That's what I'm waking up at 4:30 for, because I have to run a YouTube channel, I have to run a business. I need to wake up at 4:30 so that I have the time to get it done and put in the effort to make my life better. So Vincero is not just about the timepieces, it's about the lifestyle that you cultivate with them. But not only that, their watches have a distinct look, quality feel, and get you noticed and complimented. My friends, can't tell you how many people are just like, damn, look at that watch. So my friends, if you're interested in getting amazing timepieces like this or other ones that we've picked out, you can go to vincerowatches.com/UFD to see the ones that they have there. And you can enter coupon code UFD to get 15% off your entire order plus free global shipping. So it's not a problem that, like me, you live on the bottom side of the globe. You can definitely get them shipping easy peasy. So vincerowatches.com/UFD. Get started with some amazingly crafted timepieces. Get started on a lifestyle that changes, because I realize that I am not the man I could be, but I'm gonna be the man that I'm gonna be. I'll tell you that, I'm working on it. Let's go back to the other Brit. Okay, my friends, let's talk about this beautiful piece of machinery that is the Predator Triton 500. You can see right now it's running the Time Spy stress test. I've had this going for like 15 minutes. Temperature on the CPU is about like 80 degrees Celsius. Temperature on the GPU is about 70 to 75 degrees Celsius. That is gosh dang cool, especially in a form factor that is just so freaking thin. In fact, this is 17.9 millimeters. That is insanely thin. This is thinner than this monitor right here. That's crazy. Look at this. Look at that. And then let's talk about the specs, because thinness and temperature only matters when you have high-end specs in this thing, like Acer has put into the Triton 500. It has the i7-8750H 6-core 12-thread processor, has the RTX 2080 Max-Q GPU in here, 16 gigs of RAM, two 512 gig NVMe drives in RAID 0 so that you have a terabyte of amazingly fast storage. You've got a 1080p IPS 144 Hertz 3 millisecond G-Sync display on this thing. And I apparently borked it by closing the lid while it was running a stress test. While I restart this, because I closed the laptop when I shouldn't have, there's this nice little Predator opening screen. It comes with noise. You can turn that off by the Predator Sense app that's included in here. Fun fact, if you ever get this laptop. But then let's also keep talking about the display. Fun fact, it can do this. It can turn into a katana of sorts. This is like the worst katana ever. Reece, catch. It's a Frisbee. No? Okay. Anyways, and you can see that the bezel on the display is just mighty small. It's an 81% screen to body ratio on this. You add all the specs of everything that's in there with the 144 Hertz, the 3 millisecond response time, and this is by far the best 1080p display that I have seen on a laptop. The 15.6-inch form factor is just absolutely perfect for it. So the Predator Sense app that's included with it is actually pretty handy. That's where you're going to control the 3-zone RGB lighting on the keyboard. It's also where you're going to control that stupid opening sound like I mentioned. I hate it so much. So system boot, animation, and sound, disable that. You can also make sure that you have Optimus technology, so you can use the discrete GPU only, or you can use the iGPU that's on the Intel. And then you can enable LCD overdrive here, which would allow you to get that 3-millisecond response time, and then allows you to choose either the wrong metric system unit of measurement for temperature or the correct imperial measurement. I'm just triggering everybody in the office. So there's a lot of good stuff in here. You would think that, you know, Acer including their own software is about bloatware, but for the most part, it's actually pretty handy. You can adjust fan curves. You can set it to auto, max, or your own custom setup. You can do your own overclocking in here. You can do overclocking of presets of fast or extreme, but you could also just download something that'll allow you to overclock the GPU that's in there. That's all the stuff there. Let's talk about I/O. What we got here is a killer Ethernet. You got a USB 3. You got an HDMI 2.0 headphone mic. I did that in reverse order. 2 more USBs, a mini display port, and then a Type-C Thunderbolt pass-through. Thunderbolt pass-through? Thunderbolt port. I'm an idiot sometimes. And it has this sleek little Predator logo on the back. That's just gorgeous. But I will have to bring up my first complaint of this. You see this back metal right here? Just watch. That's never going away. I will have to clean that off. Oh, you would think the bottom's any better? No, it's the same material. So fingerprint magnet is like the understatement of the year for whatever type of material Acer has chosen to use on the Triton 500. It's just always going to be ugly unless you're handling this thing with gloves. Like, my fingerprints is disgusting. Why they got to do this? So let's talk about gaming performance while we look underneath the hood, if I can have my screwdriver wherever I put that. So as I showed at the beginning of the video, this thing stays remarkably cool, which is fantastic considering its 17.9mm thickness as well as its 2.1 kilogram weight. It basically feels like a very portable laptop, but it has an RTX 2080 as well as an i7 in this thing. So we're going to take a look underneath to see how this thing actually cools all of its components. But I will say part of the secret sauce behind this is the fact that Acer has chosen to include a 2080 Max-Q into this laptop, which, my friends, you would think, RTX 2080, that's quite great. That sounds really amazing. But the unfortunate part is that the Max-Q setup means that the GPU clock handles itself very, very vigorously when it comes to thermal downclocking. And what we found is that during the testing of gaming, as well as in like synthetics like 3D Mark's Time Spy, is that the actual gaming performance of the 2080 Max-Q is worse than this Palette Jetstream RTX 2070. So not only are you not getting a full 2080 level performance, not only are you not getting a full 2080 mobile level performance, you are actually in fact getting something that's worse than just getting an RTX 2070, which isn't necessarily great and seems a little weird on NVIDIA's end to call this an RTX 2080, because it might have the same amount of CUDA cores and it might have the same amount of tensor cores, but when it comes to actual raw performance, this thing does not do particularly well, which is NVIDIA's fault more than it is Acer's. They use TR6 security screws for the bottom, so they actually really don't want you getting in here for whatever reason. I'm pretty sure they don't want me doing this. Oh wow, there's glue? Are you kidding me? They really don't want you getting in here. Okay, so this is actually one of the nicest things about this, besides the fact that it's clearly paint that comes off, is the fact that they painted the heat sinks blue. Looks gorgeous. I love that so much. That's a huge battery. Look at that. That's a big battery right there. We're not gonna really mess with too much right here, but you can see they've taped everything down, so you just don't mess with any of it. I wonder if the RAM is soldered to the board. Based on like the fact that I can't see it anywhere, it might actually be on the underside, which would make this intensely unrepairable, which is bad for people like me. Where are the heat sinks? That's what I, like, not the heat sinks, but the heat pipes. They definitely don't want me doing this. You know what? I'm not comfortable doing this right now. This is just like, they really went ham with protecting everything. All right, well, I'll spend time on this. Anyways, what you can see is that it has all of these heat sinks right here. It's got a triple fan cooling setup right here. And then you got this giant battery right here to provide all of the battery life that you could possibly use. And as you saw when I unplugged it earlier, that, sorry, brain's getting distracted. There's the heat sinks. You can see the flat heat pipes right there. Weird. So it is on the other side of the board. That's gonna be a pain in the butt. So obviously Acer has engineered this really well to provide all of the cooling that you need. And not only does it have the triple fan setup, not only does it have all of those heat sinks, but they actually did a really great thing when it came to the keyboard spacing, is that they provided all of this right here as an airflow outlet for the GPUs. So what we saw with the temperatures is what it's like under normal gaming conditions when it's just sitting here. And as you can see, all of the heat's gonna be up here and not anywhere on the keyboard. So as a gaming laptop, playing games on this laptop, the heat's not on the keyboard, it's away from you and it's staying sufficiently cool. It's really just the issue of the Max-Q graphics card that they've chosen to put in here that kind of limits what it actually is, but you can't really expect much more than that from the competition when it comes to thin notebooks, because they all are going Max-Q at this point, since that's NVIDIA's big push when it comes to notebooks. But if you compare it to an RTX 2070 desktop with an i7-8700, a B360, a cooler on top of that, an equivalent 1080p 144 Hertz, if you kit out a full computer, you're looking at like about $1,800 to $2,000 if you price it out accordingly, whereas this comes in at a relatively respectable $2,500 for the way we have it set up right here in the configuration that it's in, which, considering you're only paying $500 to get the ultimate portability compared to a desktop, and I'm not even just talking a small desktop, I'm talking about like normal desktop tower. If you want some of the best gaming performance that you can get on the market in one of the best, thinnest form factors that you can consider, $2,500 isn't terribly unreasonable considering the specs that you're getting. And they did update this to the 9th gen Intel, so if that interests you, you can check that out. They just happened to send us the 8th gen with the i7-8750H. So there's a lot to love about this laptop. If you view it as a portable desktop replacement, it has everything that you could possibly need. A high refresh rate G-Sync display with a highly competent graphics card, so you can get 144 FPS in most modern titles. If you just drop the settings to about high quality, it'll work. The temperature is really good. It has a turbo button in case you want it to get noisy while you're playing games and cool it even further. I found that just turning on the turbo button was wholly unnecessary because you got a couple degrees difference, not that much better gaming performance, and just a huge increase in the amount of noise that this thing is putting out, because for the most part it's pretty whisper silent, but then when you turn on the fans fully, it's not the worst that I've ever heard, but it's not great either. So the Triton 500 from Acer is a pretty solid laptop. It has everything that I would want. The biggest issue is that it's a huge fingerprint magnet. The 2080 Max-Q from NVIDIA is kind of sad when you compare it to the desktop counterparts. This is not at all what we got from the 10 series. It's what you got from 10 series Max-Q, but like I would have rather just an RTX 2070 in here than the kind of, I would slightly call it deceitful to say it's a 2080 Max-Q because it doesn't even perform like a 2070 desktop. So NVIDIA is pushing the lines on what mobile GPUs are supposed to be and making it really hard for me to trust them when it comes to the naming scheme here. But other than that, this is a gorgeous laptop. I love the blue accents everywhere. And I forgot to mention my favorite part. How did I forget this, Rikus? You're behind the camera. You're supposed to remind me. The keyboard. The keyboard is so good. The keycaps are concave, so your fingers just kind of rest into it, and it feels so nice to type on this thing. It just feels so freaking good. The mouse, the trackpad is also sufficiently enjoyable, not as good as the keyboard. The keyboard is just world-changing. This is the best mobile laptop keyboard I've experienced, besides that one that has like a full Cherry MX keyboard on it. But like when you're talking about chiclet mobile keyboards, this one wins. This is by far the best one. Anyways, that's the end of this video on the Predator Triton 500. Again, big thanks to Acer Africa for sending this over for us to check out. This is gonna be Rikus's laptop that he's taking with him to Computex to edit all of our Computex videos on. So it's definitely a portable, potent powerhouse of production for us. I love alliteration. And big thanks to our video sponsor today, Vincero Watches. VinceroWatches.com/UFD. Check out the matte black Chrono S, my friends, okay? UFD coupon code 15% off plus free global shipping. Do it. You know you wanna. Anyways, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video of us checking out the Predator Triton 500. Get subscribed to stay up to date on all of our UFD Tech content. I'm Brett with the UFD Tech channel. You've been UFD Teched, and I'll UFD Tech you in the next video. Love you too.